And as we are having a European forum with the participation with not only Lithuanian historians and politicians, but also foreign guests, it has been mentioned already that this forum is supported by the European Commission and partly financed from its program. We are grateful to the Commission for that. And virtually, we have Mr. Gert a member of the European Parliament, who has been working a lot within the field of reconciliation, of the effects of the common history. He used to work as the president of the European Parliament and influenced adoption of a number of very important documents that actually opened ways and indicated to what needs to be done to restore the historical justice. We have a video speech, welcoming speech to the participants of our conference. Gerbiamas ministrė pirmininkė Andriau Kubiliau.
European Parliament, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. First of all, I want to congratulate you for this outstanding conference which we have organized in Vilnius on the united history of a united continent. I regret not being able to attend the meeting, but at this moment, as you are watching me on the screen, I am on my way to London to deliver a speech about Christian values as a foundation of European integration. I hope for your understanding that I adhered to my commitment to encourage some of the last British pro-Europeans to keep on track. Here in Vilnius, during the next 2 days, you will discuss the different aspects of the challenges to regarding European history as the common history of European citizens. For most of our lives, we learned about our history exclusively from a national perspective at schools or universities, in books or documentations, in speeches or museums. Sharing the same memories is always something that unifies a specific group of people, a couple, a family, citizens of a certain region or of a whole country. When we ask people about their national identity, their answer is usually based on historical aspects. In previous times, every generation in Europe witnessed at least one big war. The national history depended on success or defeat. Only after the inconceivable crimes of the Second World War was it possible to escape the vicious cycle through the courageous and visionary decisions made by outstanding politicians like Robert Schuman, Alcide de Gasperi and Konrad Adenauer, who were later regarded as the founding fathers of the European integration. With the European Coal and Steel Community in 1951, they established the first real supranational organization in the world. Continuing with the treaties of Rome in 1957 and every further step of integration, the member states wrote more and more chapters of their common European history. It is remarkable that when we talk about different views on the past, these times are completely omitted from the discussion. But what about other time periods and other European countries? Until the late 80s, Europe was divided by two ideologies which collided at the Iron Curtain. On both sides, the perception of history was strongly influenced by the perception of the Second World War and of its consequences. For decades, it was part of the strategy of totalitarian regimes, of National Socialists as well as of Communists, to misuse the effects of sharing a common history to strengthen the national identity of the people. Therefore, in those times, history was never an object of public discussions or neutral presentations. It was always part of propaganda. Having been influenced for generations, it is nearly impossible to remove this propaganda from people's minds. The need to come to terms with the past, therefore, requires more than just a look back. Only if we know where we have come from can we realize where we are and decide where we want to go. Please allow me to explain this with a personal remark. 1 year ago, I visited Szczecin, the capital city of West Pomerania in western Poland, for the first time in my life. Near this city, there is a war cemetery. Most of the soldiers lying there are still unidentified. I was born in September 1945 in Bersenbrück in Lower Saxony in Germany. My father, who was a simple soldier, was given leave from the front to visit his hometown only for Christmas in 1944. Shortly after returning to the front, he disappeared. The last records of his whereabouts were from February 1945, close to Szczecin. I never knew him. We believe he was killed and buried anonymously in this cemetery. It is very difficult to describe how moving this experience was for me. But despite the sadness of the place, this moment gave me confidence that all the efforts for reconciliation, all the work to build the European Union, to overcome the spiral of wars and crimes, and also my own modest contribution during my political life in the European Parliament, are the right answers to overcoming the horrors of war. After my visit to the war cemetery, I had a discussion with Polish students at the University of Szczecin about the European values of today. This discussion showed what a long way we have come for the better in Europe. When the European Union is awarded the Nobel Peace Prize next month in Oslo, it is not only a strong recognition of the 6 decades of work in advancing peace in Europe, it is also a reminder to us to continue promoting our common values, the respect for human dignity and for human rights, freedom, democracy, peace, and the rule of law. The generation of people who experienced the tragedies of the 20th century and went on to build the European communities is disappearing. It is necessary to record their stories and memories to allow future generations to understand how and why today's Union developed. Especially in times of crisis, it is important to articulate the crucial role of culture and heritage and to remember that peaceful cooperation cannot be taken for granted. In my inaugural speech as President of the European Parliament in 2007, I proposed a House of European History to create a locus for history and for the future where the concept of the European idea can continue to grow. During the last 5 years, a lot of work had to be done, but today we are very close to the final realization of the project. A team of historians and museum professionals from all over Europe has been recruited specifically for this project and is working on the development of the exhibitions, ensuring that the diversity of European history and of its interpretations is fairly represented. Through this project, we aim to promote knowledge of Europe's history and awareness of diverse memories in an open and non-dogmatic fashion. The House of European History will give citizens an opportunity to learn about his historical process and reflect on what it means for the present. It will be a huge challenge to present different viewpoints and diverse interpretations of European history, but that, after all, is one of the main topics of your conference. So, here we are, back at the title of your conference, United Europe, United History. There are few places better suited for the conference on the different views of history than a country which was occupied for so many years by the Soviet Union and is now a full and self-confident member of the European Union. Thank you very much for inviting me, and please let me wish you 2 days of fruitful discussions, inspiring speeches, and last but not least, some unforgettable moments in Vilnius, in this beautiful city. Thank you so much, and good luck and good success.
We're very grateful to Gert for this welcome address. We're equally thankful to other politicians and diplomats who understand the importance of reconciliation of histories. They speak in our name and on our behalf, because it's quite difficult to speak about our own miseries and to be heard. I'm happy that we have serious partners who realize this is important and necessary.